But other dangers, besides woke tyrants on a power trip, abound elsewhere, and you really should know about them and have them on your radar. On Tuesday, a Superior Court judge in Delaware ruled that in the small town of Fenwick Island, companies can cast votes in their local elections. In that city, one man, one vote is dead. Now, artificial entities get extra votes so that the outcomes can be manipulated accordingly. If you own a company, each of the people there don't just get a vote. The company gets to vote too, as though it is a person. So who made this ruling? And no doubt wants to be known for what they did with the power that was entrusted to them. That would be Delaware's Superior Court Judge Craig A. Karsnitz, Karsnitz, who cited not a legal precedent, but the apparent philosopher Diogo Joao Baptista Gomez, I haven't heard of him either, in his ruling that decided under the legal definition of a person, quote, any adult, corporation, or institution is a person, end quote. No, it's not. According to Reuters, as of 2025, 12% of all registered voters in the small Sussex town were corporations, including over 200 artificial entities. This is not the first attempt to steal power from the actual voters and transfer it somewhere that it does not belong, which is conveniently enough where it can be controlled and will benefit them the most. Here is what happened. The ACLU of Delaware sued the town of Fenwick Island after it permitted non-resident property owners there to vote in municipal elections. You just had to be able to afford to buy a tiny piece of property in that town, and even if you never lived there, you get to vote. Andrew Bernstein of the ACLU pointed out there are over 2 million artificial business entities incorporated in Delaware and only about 1 million people. This undemocratic quack judge stated that the ACLU failed to demonstrate how Fenwick Island's policy violated the one person, one vote principle, given that this judge randomly defines a corporate entity as being a person who gets one vote. In the update to Fenwick Island's charter in 2008, the Delaware General Assembly revised the voter qualifications section of the town's charter. This is what resulted in authorization of non-resident property owners who live somewhere else, including LLCs, corporations, and trusts, being allowed to vote in municipal elections so long as they register to vote by March 1st for any subsequent election. Because Delaware law unilaterally declares that a corporation is a person, despite that being a blatant lie, Judge Karsnitz says that his ruling just keeps some persons, meaning big companies, from being discriminated against as people when it comes to voting. Yes, it's just like allowing black people to vote. The judge stated in his ruling, visions of faceless large corporations or even how controlling a small town are frightening and the stuff of science fiction. However, plaintiff has not demonstrated that this policy violates the principle of one person / entity, one vote, and matters of policy are appropriately left to legislative bodies, not the courts. So now the door is open for more artificial entities to control elections at the local level. Are bots people? AI avatars? Do elections now belong to the biggest bot farm? Does Xi Jinping get to vote if he buys a piece of property in your neighborhood? It is very simple. People are people. That is the end of the definition of people. Companies are companies. Companies are not people. No matter what harebrained lunacy you unilaterally declare, Your Honor. The people at the companies are entitled to a vote, but the company itself is not a person, and it does not get a vote. The ACLU pointed out that in Fenwick Island's election in 2024, non-human votes made up the entire voter margin between the winner and the runner-up. They decided that election. Following the landmark Supreme Court case, Citizens United versus FEC in 2010, which must be overturned for so many reasons, all of which have devastated American elections. After that disastrous ruling, the national debate started to focus on whether a corporation was a person. And I don't care which party you're on, this should scare the crap out of you, because either party could take advantage of it and make your votes non-existent as far as counting. As a result, in 2013, a lawmaker in Montana introduced a bill allowing corporations to vote in municipal elections as long as they owned property locally, which corporations do have the extra money to do, I would point out. That bill was tabled without being passed. In 2023, Seaford, another town in Delaware, briefly attempted to expand their voting to businesses. Despite a lack of momentum elsewhere to give rich company owners the ability to buy extra votes for the price of a piece of property, corporations getting involved in elections, which is what Citizens United did, has skyrocketed fundraising, which has only turned our political arena into a circus, along with many other issues. But at least companies have not been given the right to vote elsewhere. Yet, this sets precedent. And as I pointed out, other politicians have tried to get it in their cities. Citizens United has to be overturned. That has to become a top priority in the Supreme Court now. In the meantime, Fenwick Island's election laws remain entirely unique to that town. The ACLU's challenge against them remains the only direct legal challenge to artificial entities taking over voting. And the ACLU does still have the right to appeal this case to Delaware's Supreme Court, and they have to.